Yo. Welcome in, man. Top of the morning. This is the ChrisBeCappinn Show. Today is February the 25th. There are 3, 6, 7. I think it's 8 games on the board for today. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games on the board for today. And 2 official bets. Couple things I got kind of looking at, not, in the chamber, but haven't quite hit the button quite yet. Waiting on some injury updates. So let's jump into it for today, man. Try to be productive with our time today. No recap for me yesterday. There was a couple things that I talked about being on the short list. Didn't end up pulling the trigger. I don't want any team that has Killian Hayes starting at the point guard position, so I didn't bet Brooklyn, thank God, because they, of course, got smoked in the first quarter and for the full game. I waited like been practicing patience. I waited on the Detroit and Clipper injury report because I wanted to see what was going to happen with Kawhi and Norm Powell. I like the Clippers in that spot to bounce back. Without those two guys, I didn't bet it. Stayed off. Detroit was able to get the win. The 2 player props that I liked most yesterday were both winners. Trae Young did stay under his 26.5 or 28.5 points. The bump at 27.5 when it got bet down, he also stayed under. And then Christian Braun did go up and over his 14.5 points. So those were the plays that I talked about yesterday. Let's see who is here with us in the comments. Not a lot of people, but that's cool. Adam says he loves the slate tonight. That's cool. Glad you do. Kevin says, how about those Bucks? What up, Fear Elite? What up, LJ? Good morning, GLB. Says, let's keep cashing. And TC Best says, Detroit basketball. Feels good to see my team playing good again. Yeah, shout out to the Pistons, man. They look really, really good. I know I talked about, you could poke holes in their strength of schedule and all that good stuff, but they've been hooping, man. They've absolutely been hooping. So I got to give some credit to the Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham and JB Bickerstaff, all of the guys. They've been doing really, really good. Good morning, Hefe. Good morning to my guy, Mark, Helping Hands, Justin. The gang is together again. Let's jump into it, man. No further ado. Let's jump in to see what jaXon likes. So jaXon gave out a loser yesterday. jaXon liked the over between the Denver Nuggets and the Indiana Pacers, and it almost ended up getting there. 246.5 was the total. I think it ended 241, 242 or something like that. Who would have thought Detroit was going to play some defense? I kind of felt that way though, which made me a little hesitant to want to take the Pistons as a home, the Pacers as a home dog yesterday. You just never know when you're going to get that effort from Detroit. But I talked about, them losing the way that they did to the Lakers, getting embarrassed on national TV in Denver, that sometimes that can light a fire under you. So I stayed off of that game, and it was the Pacers team total that ended up going under to keep jaXon from having a winning day yesterday. As far as today's play from jaXon, I just asked again, instead of total, I picked side. So NBA best ATS NBA bet of the day, and jaXon likes the Cleveland Cavaliers minus the 7.5. You can get some 7s right now, so definitely shop around. I see a 6.5 out there as well. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this play. Maybe jaXon knows that Darius Garland is going to play, but I saw him on the injury report. Anyway, not going to read the whole entire thing quite yet, but pretty much what it is Cleveland, just riding a 7-game streak right now. Elite defense and offense. Donovan Mitchell's in really good form. jaXon says the Cavs are 17-9 ATS on the road. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games as well. And the Orlando Magic 4-0 last 4, but they're shorthanded without Jalen Suggs. So, and they're 28th in offensive rating. So jaXon thinks that there should be a separation of margin that's at least 4 possessions before this thing ends. So that's the gist of it all. Cleveland last 15 games plus 12.9 net rating, 34.4% offensive rebounding rate, effective field goal percentage that's 58%, all elite numbers, and thinks that Orlando is still going to struggle to score the basketball, 28th in offensive rating over the last 10 games. So, excuse me, that's what jaXon likes today. jaXon likes Cleveland minus 7.5. If you're interested in checking out other analysis or, what jaXon thinks about plays that you might like, player prop size, totals, NBA, NFL, MLB, NCAA, jaXon is a one-stop shop. Save yourself a bunch of time. Use that promo code in the description of the video to get 50% off of whatever trial it is that you want to select. So that's that. I do got to play in that game, but it's not on the side, and we'll get into that in just a second. First up, though, we got the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. I'm not going through every single game again today either. I did look into all of these games, but some of them I don't really enjoy that much, if I'm being honest. First game up, though, we got the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. Quickly start with the injury report. For the Boston Celtics, they are on the first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game against the Pistons tomorrow in Detroit, so they have decided to rest. They've decided to rest Jrue Holiday, and this is, I kind of expected this. I think I might have said this, that towards the end of the season, we may start to see Boston rest some guys occasionally here and there, just so they can be fine-tuned. They want to be the best version of themselves, not February the 25th, but in a couple months. When the playoffs start. So there will be no Jrue Holiday. Al Horford is also listed as game time decision. He probably rests in this one, in my opinion, and plays tomorrow against Detroit also, or plays today and then rests tomorrow, of course. And then Luke Cornett's already been ruled out as well. Excuse me. On the Toronto side, the reason why I haven't made a play yet is because I want to see what happens with Jakob Poeltl. He has not played in the last, I think, 2 or 3 games for maybe even more. He was having those back spasms right before the All-Star break. So interesting to see what happens with Jakob Poeltl. And then Grady Dick is also on the injury report, but he's more probable. So, I mean, you're looking at, when I look into this game, the first thing that jumps out to me is Toronto. The first thing that jumps out to me is how well Boston's been playing. We'll talk about that in just a second. But Toronto has been able to kind of, keep it close and hang in there with Boston. This will be the last matchup of the 4 this season. Toronto has covered 2 of the 3. They actually beat this Boston Celtics team outright the last time that they played in Toronto back on January the 15th. They beat them 110-97 as a 14-point home dog. And that game, of course, went under the 228 total. We see that this total opened 226.5, and it's kind of like I see it up to 227. I see 227.5. I see a 225.5. So nobody really knows what to do with this total. And I'll tell you what I was thinking in just a second as far as the total goes. But head-to-head wise, like I said, Toronto has covered 2 of the 3. Boston, however, is in really good form. 5-0 ATS last 5. It's pretty simple. You take Boston or you kind of just get out the way right now. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. Like I said, they've covered 5 straight. All of the games that they've covered have been about 13 points or more. Defensively, they haven't given up more than 105 points in 6 straight games. So defensively, this team is a juggernaut right now. And they kind of, hanging their hats on the defensive end. They are the number 3 rated defense, 105.5 defensive rating, number 2 in effective field goal percentage, giving up the second fewest offensive rebounds, sending teams to the free throw line at the 3rd lowest rate. The only thing that they haven't been doing is forcing turnovers, and Boston never forces turnovers. So, I don't want to bet against them right now. They're doing a really good job defensively, offensively. There's a lot of connectedness, I guess, that you could say is, surrounding Boston right now. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at Boston. Maybe they want to, keep a little bit in the tank tomorrow for Detroit because Detroit has won 9 of their last 10 games. I'm not sure. But I think with the revenge, the only way I'd be looking towards Boston, this line open 10.5, it's up to 11. I think I agree with that. If Jakob Poeltl doesn't play, it makes life difficult for Toronto to score the basketball. So that's the other way that I was looking at this was the Toronto team total under. I think the best number right now, I think it was 107.5 last night. It's still some 107s, I think. Yeah, 107.5 is consensus right now. And I would be thinking Toronto could struggle to score the basketball. When I look at them last 5 games, both of these teams, Boston has been elite offensively as far as offensive efficiency. But the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics have been playing at a very, very slow pace. Toronto is 24th in pace last 5 games. Boston is 28th in pace last 5 games. So when I think about Boston's strong defense, when I think about Toronto struggling to score the basketball, they're 26th in offensive efficiency, playing at the 6th lowest pace or the 7th lowest pace last 5 games. That makes me think Toronto team total under 107.5. That's the way that I want to play this one if I'm getting involved. I'll see what happens with Jakob Poeltl. Potentially may have a play a little bit later. Is what I'm thinking in this one. And not to overlook Toronto. 18-12-1 at home, ATS. They've been really, really good. 7-3 to the over, 3 straight overs for them. Also, first leg of a back-to-back for them as well, though. They got a game in Indiana tomorrow. So my thought process is Boston minus the points or Toronto team total under. Let's see if we have like some burning thoughts on this one, and we'll keep it moving to the next game. Also consider Jason Tatum. Real quick, not to get too far off topic and offhand, because this is going to be a quicker show today. Just trying to give you guys some information here. So looking at Mr. Tatum rebounds and assists has been money. If you've been paying attention, he's been leading his team in assists. Without Al Horford there, probably even more probably even more rebounds as well. Just talked about Toronto playing slow. Talked about Toronto not making a lot of shots. Offensively, they've been missing a lot. So Tatum rebounds and assists is, I think it's still juice 13.5. I think you can still get a juice 13.5, but this is 14.5. You can see last handful of games since the All-Star break. This is right before the All-Star break against the Spurs. 21 rebounds and assists. 21 against Philly in Philly. Came home against the Knicks on Sunday and did whatever he wanted in that game. Barely missed the triple-double by 1 assist. He had a chance to actually get the triple-double. I think it might have been Al Horford who missed the shot. So 19 rebounds and assists. I mean, you can see the potential assists. Just if you give me 17 potential assists for Jason Tatum, I think I'm looking towards the over on his rebounds and assists every single time. You know that the rebound chances are going to be there. I expect Tatum to, go up and over his boards today. And then, we can also look at the head-to-head matchup. This is Outlier, of course. There's a link in the description if you're interested in checking it out. But if you look at Outlier, you can see, just head-to-head matchups. The ones that he's played this season, it's been 1, 2, 3, 20, 11, and 17. 20 against this game in Toronto. Very, very, different game. But no Drew Holiday, probably more potential assists as well. And 14 potential assists. The rebound chances, of course, always going to be there with Tatum, 18, 14, and 13. So I do think that I like the juice 13.5 more than I like the 14.5, but I think Tatum is in a primetime spot today as well. Not anything that I bet, just because the line is moving, and I got to see if I can find a juice 13.5, but I don't really like the 14 as much. That's my thought process on this game. Lastly, I haven't bet Porzingis over his first quarter points. I know we've been cashing that at 6.5. It's not that I'm not going to. The number did bump up to 6.5 everywhere. We've been playing 5.5. Not to say that I don't like it. I just haven't locked it in yet. I want to do a little bit more digging before I decide. Find out if Jakob Poeltl is going to play. That changes the defense a little bit. But I'm only looking towards Porzingis to go up and over, especially without Drew Holiday being there. Also, and I know it's a lot for one game, but Derek White without Drew Holiday typically goes up and over his points prop. Toronto's not a great 3-point defense. Derek White went up and over his props on Sunday against the Knicks. Probably does the same thing again. He's in really good form. So Derek White up and over his points. Jason Tatum rebounds and assists. Toronto Raptors under 107.5, and then probably a look towards Boston laying the points as well. The ways that I'd be looking in this game. Let's see real quick. What up, She? Appreciate you for tapping in. Reba says, good morning, Chris from Louisiana. Appreciate you for tapping in. Rivis, I think is how you pronounce that. Appreciate you for tapping in. What up, Brian? Appreciate you for tapping in. This is Game of the Night in LA. LJ says, Boston first quarter and first half. Raptors are 1-11-1. Last 13 ATS in the first quarter at home versus the East. 1-8 in the first half versus the East since January. Really good looks here from LJ. Appreciate that, LJ. Good morning, Prestigious Prodigy. Appreciate you for tapping in. Jake says, cheers for that Christian Braun pick, man. Boy made us sweat, but he went off in the fourth. Yeah, I saw he had like 7 at halftime, I think, or 8 or something like that. I didn't bet it, but when I take 10 minutes to look into a player prop, most of the time it's gonna be a winner. I just didn't get there. I don't know. I probably should have. What up, Dropping Dimes? Appreciate you for tapping in. Card Collector says he's gonna take Boston minus the 11. GLB says Boston assist and points is what I'll be looking into today. Quickly threes. Only thing I'm looking at, Pete says. What up, Solo? Appreciate you for tapping in. Malik says you getting there on KP point. I don't know yet, Malik, but you remember, so you'll know if I do it. You'll know if I pull a trigger. When I think about Boston, I think about KP. He's been cashing so much for us recently. But it's a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more than that. Mark says he played under 227. I kind of lean under too, Mark. I do kind of lean under. Boston, I don't think will need to get to 119 is what their team total is. We saw the, last game against the Knicks, same thing, right? And I just mentioned both teams bottom 10 in pace. I like it. I like it a lot. What up, Bryant? This is another tough card. Trying to find a winner. I agree. I think the card is tough as well. All right, let's keep it moving, man. Appreciate you for tapping in as well, Anthony, and I appreciate you as well, Dougie Bones. Tatum rebounds and assists been going crazy. They absolutely have. All right, let's move over to the next game I want to talk about, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic. So I did bet this one. I bet the total. So we got, and the line, I feel like it's getting a tad bit disrespectful, man. I know that Cleveland is an absolute juggernaut. Don't get it twisted. This opened at 5.5, and it's up to 7 now, though. I don't know, man. Shouldn't we be showing 7.5? Shouldn't we be showing the Orlando Magic a little bit of respect here? I know jaXon like it too, but I don't agree with jaXon today. If I'm betting the game, I kind of want the Magic. I know that they're without Jalen Suggs. That's probably enough to keep me off. But Darius Garland is listed as game time decision, man. That has a tremendous impact. It's a hip injury, forced him to not play, of course, in the last game on Sunday. It was an ESPN game against the Memphis Grizzlies at the crib, and now you got, and he's the only person on the injury report for Cleveland. Orlando just have Jalen Suggs listed as well. Cleveland, going back to the beginning of the season, they did beat this Orlando Magic team. They won and covered earlier, 120-109. That's a 7-point home favorite. That game did go up and over to 216 total. So you got a Cleveland team that is kind of red hot right now, man. They are 4-0-1 ATS last 5. They did just get a push against the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday. 17-9 on the road ATS. So they have been profitable. They've won 7 in a row and 9 of their last 10. 7-3 ATS over their last 10 games as well. They do have the Boston Celtics in Boston on Friday, though. That's something to keep into to take a part of your handicap. Maybe they look ahead, maybe they don't. It's something that you kind of got to, factor in whether you think they're going to look ahead or not. This is the 4th game in 6 nights for the Cleveland Cavaliers as well with travel. So those things kind of make me like Orlando. Orlando is 17-11-1 at the crib. They've covered all 4 games since the All-Star break. They played 5 straight under. So defensively, they've been a lot better recently. And they really haven't had to travel. 3rd straight home game for them. Also 4th game in 6 nights, but 3rd straight home game. So haven't had to travel as much, man. I know Cleveland is an offensive juggernaut. I get it. But I think Orlando will keep it close. Anyway, that's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is the total. And we have some CLV here. I played it at 225.5. Sent out a nice little detailed breakout, right up last night of why I like the under. But we'll start with not trusting the Orlando Magic's offense, specifically without Jalen Suggs. So if anything, I think that they are going to play a little bit slower. This is not, your Penny Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal, Orlando Magic team here offensively. So real quick, just pull it up. So Orlando is still 24th in offensive rating over the last 5 games, which is about what the All-Star break has been. I guess that is improved, over the full season with a 29th. But they playing some really good defense. Number 1 defensive rated team, 101.8 defensive rating over the last 5 games. If anything, I think they just continue to slow the pace down. They're 25th in pace last 5 games. They have played the easiest strength of schedule, so maybe that is a little bit more of a slight towards, looking towards Cleveland in this spot. But when I was going through this last night, the first thing I looked at was how well Orlando has been against the 3-point shot. Best 3-point opponent effective field goal percentage, and also allowing the 3rd fewest offensive rebounds are the Orlando Magic. The reason why I talk about the offensive rebounds is because last 5 games, Cleveland has actually been the best team in the NBA. as far as offensive rebounds. They're second, which has led to a lot of easy second chance points. Of course, they should be able to. They shouldn't be as available in this matchup. Orlando's 3-point defense, again, last 5 games are forcing teams off the 3-point line. They're 5th in opponent above the break 3 frequency and 6th in opponent accuracy. So they're doing a pretty good job there. Cleveland, as much as we think about them as an offensive team, they are still very elite defensively. 4th best defense last 5 games. The Magic are 8-1 to the under when they're a home dog this season. That's both first half and full game. So you love to see that as well. Garland, let's talk about Garland. He missed the last game, like I talked about, against the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday. Almost 10 fewer points offensively is what the Cleveland Cavaliers are scoring per 100 possessions. So offensive rating goes from about a 127 to a 117. And there's a chance that he could miss this game today. The spread doesn't really indicate it. With it getting bigger, I would think that it would come down a little bit. But if he doesn't play, which I could see, them making sure, you want him to be healthy, of course, for the playoffs. So maybe, there's a chance he doesn't play and kind of rest in this one again. But yeah, I just think we got an edge. I think we had an edge at 225. So I played the 225. The best I see right now, it looks like there's a 224 on Caesars. I think it's gonna be a defensive game, man. I really, really do. First half under potentially. I just played full game, but I like it. I like it a lot, man. I think second half we will start to see some under. So I played under. Not sure player prop wise what I would play. Didn't really look too deeply into that, but I did like this under, so that's what I jumped on and grabbed last night. Let's see if we have thoughts about this one. Let's see. LJ does have a show, Lee. Just FYI, LJ has a show. You type in LJ from H-Town in YouTube, and LJ does have a show. I try to watch my guy LJ show when he send me a link to it. Absolutely. Brian says he'll go Magic +7. Time to ride with the home team. Yeah, they've been covering, man. I get it. Like I said, it's scary because they've been playing against an easy schedule, but I do think I think the Magic can keep it close. As the bigger the number gets, the more I'm inclined to take the Orlando Magic. I know that they're -7 on Circa, -7.5 on Circa, but I think they can keep it within the number, man. Parlay says Orlando has the size to give Cleveland problems, plus at home. So I'm kind of looking at it, man. Garland under for Jack. Probably some Garland unders if he plays. Can see it. Markel says, what up, bro? Don't Paolo hate Evan Mobley? Paolo, so we got to keep in mind, right? Orlando Magic lost to this team in Game 7 in Cleveland last year, right? I remember being on the Magic thinking, they had won, 2 games in a row, and Cleveland was starting to miss some bodies. And Cleveland, won that game. After if you go back and look at it, I remember it being a very scary first half for the Cleveland Cavalier organization. So yeah, it's a lot of different factors to kind of be looking towards Orlando, and that's just my opinion. I didn't play it, but we'll see what happens with the injury report. The scary part for Orlando, though, I just want to go put this on record. Their strength of schedule has been the easiest in the NBA over the last 5 games. So it's a lot of things you got to juggle when you're thinking about this game. Adam says, need some Magic. Mark says he played the under 225 last night. Yeah, I didn't even want the hook, Mark. I played 225.5. I think I got it at BetMGM is what I sent it out at. But we'll see what happens, man. Just because you get CLV don't mean nothing, until it cashes. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we got the Suns and the Grizzlies. I did make a play in this one as well. We'll start with the injury report. We got nobody really on it for the Phoenix Suns. Cody Martin, of course, won't play. Monte Morris is a game-time decision. The Memphis Grizzlies have nobody on the injury report. That scares me just a tad bit with the play that I like, but this Phoenix team is so bad right now, man. They are. I don't even know if it's right now. Remember, I tried to, play them first game after the All-Star break against the Suns. Against the Spurs, and they got smoked in that spot as a favorite. Now you can get him as a pretty big dog here. So let's jump into the matchup really quickly. We got so as far as head-to-head wise goes, this line did open up at 7.5, and it's up to 8. I see some 8.5s as well. So money is coming in on Memphis. Phoenix is not a lot to like about Phoenix right now. Offensively, they're not even that good. This is their 20th offensively over the last 5 games. They are 26 defensively last 5 games, and they're playing fast, 8th in pace. So that would say that this game goes over. The total open 244 is up to 246 on most books. And the Memphis Grizzlies, even though I don't really want to lay a lot of points with Memphis, I've seen this Memphis team just for whatever reason not be super locked in. I saw them go down and mess around in Memphis the other night, didn't cover that game. They actually haven't been covering, only 1-3-1 against the number in their last 5 games out of Memphis Grizzlies. However, they are 18-9 against the spread at the crib. And it's the first game back home after a 3-game road trip. Plus, they had 2 more games before the All-Star break on the road. So you can see a 5-game road trip. And they got a big revenge game against the Knicks coming up in Memphis on Friday. For the Suns, not a great spot either, though. On the road, they're not great. 11-19 straight up and against the spread. That's a horrible ATS record. 1-5 against the number in their last 5. 2-8 both straight up and against the spread in their last 10. And it's the last game of a 5-game road trip for them. Fourth game in 6 nights as well. Phoenix has played more games so far since the All-Star break than any other team. I just kind of feel like Phoenix is a dumpster fire. I don't want to lay 8 points with the Memphis Grizzlies, but if I had to play it, that's probably the way that I'm looking. This will be the 3rd matchup of the season. Memphis has won and covered both spreads so far this season. And the last one was right before the All-Star break in Phoenix. They just don't have enough, man. What I ended up playing in this game, though, we'll go back over the outlier really quickly, just so you can have some visuals, is I ended up playing Ja Morant. And the only thing that scares me even a tad bit in this one is that Ja Morant is that Memphis has everybody off the injury report. So you kind of want somebody off the injury report if you want to, play on a star player. But I still think that he could get there. Ja Morant, I played his points. You can look at this chart here, see that he hasn't been playing great. Only up and over 22.5 points. And I sent this out at 21.5 too, just FYI. So we did by the hook here over, I don't even see 21.5 on here, but 21.5 was available last night, and it's still available unless it just got. When I woke up this morning, there was a lot of 21.5s, but I played 21.5 last night. So I'm looking at Ja, right, and this matchup dependent again, right? Scores a fourth of his points in transition. Phoenix is god awful in transition. They give up so many points in transition. With 11 plus field goal attempts against teams that are bottom 10 in transition defense, Ja is up and over his 22 points in 8 of his 12 games. Love that hit rate. Ja also gets another 5th of his points, so 20% of his points as the pick and roll ball handler, where Phoenix ranks 24th defensively. They give it up to everybody in the pick and roll. I mean, you just look at who they play against, and you can see somebody that's dominated them in the pick and roll. Phoenix is 24th defensively against teams that are bottom 10. Ja has 22 points in 9 of his 12 games. He's back at the crib. He played against them earlier this season, which you can see here. He had 26 points in this game. He didn't even shoot well. He shot 8 for 19 from the floor in that game. I don't even think he made a 3. So, I like Ja Morant to go up and over his 21.5 points. I talked about it last night. I think the hook is okay at 20. I think the bump to 22.5 is okay as well. It just scares me a tad bit that they will be at full strength today. I played 22.5, 21.5 last night is what I like in this one. Stayed away from the side. If I had to play the total, I would probably just isolate the Memphis Grizzlies. I know that it's 126.5. They probably get to 130, being that Phoenix is playing 4th game in 6 nights, and Phoenix is 8th in pace over the last 5 games. So I do think that they'll be able to score. Phoenix not really stopping nobody. let's see what the thought process is here. If anybody got any thoughts on this one at all. Is Bane playing? I didn't hear. Bane is not on the injury report, Adam. Not on the injury report. Memphis at home, go stupid, dummy, crazy. Shout out to Jay. He says lines should be higher than 8. I think 8 is about right, Jack. But I do think they can cover the 8. I'll put it like that. I think 8 is about right, though. I did want to just really quickly, I forgot to look into this last night. I wanted to look at the Suns when they are road dogs this season, big road dogs, and see how they perform in those spots. So they're 1-12 straight up, just 4-7 against the spread, losing by an average of 14 points per game. If they are heavy dogs, they've been a dog of 7 points or more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. They've only covered 2 spreads. So let's see. Yeah, they're 0-6 straight up, 2-4 against the spread when they're a dog of 7 points or more. It makes sense, man. It makes a ton of sense. Typically, what fails them is their offense, though. Their offense typically fails them. They are averaging 102 points in this spot, giving up 120. So maybe the Grizzlies don't even need to get to 125. Just take that with a grain of salt. But that's the way I'm kind of looking at this one. And the other thing, not to go too deeply into this game, the other thing about the Suns is it plays so well. Like Memphis is the perfect team. If you want to bet on a team to beat the Suns, Memphis is that perfect team. They struggle to stop transition buckets, and that's what Memphis thrives in. Also, Memphis turns the ball over a lot. So that's why I don't like taking Memphis against good teams that force turnovers, like the Cleveland Cavaliers or Orlando Magic, because Memphis can struggle. They just so lackadaisical with the basketball. They get out there, just start turning the ball over left and right. Again, we saw it against OKC when they were, on the second leg of that back-to-back, and OKC came in there and absolutely smoked them on their home court. Guess what Phoenix don't do? Phoenix ain't forcing them. They don't even got nobody that can force turnovers. They don't care about defense. They want to stand around, shoot jump shots, and look pretty. So that's another reason to like Phoenix in this spot. I mean, to like Memphis in this spot, Jack. Memphis points, assists, and 3-point props today. Who have I been talking about props? OJ says Suns 5-11 straight up on the road versus the West. Memphis 12-4 straight up at home versus the West. I like it. Linkowick says Grizzlies has to be the worst defensive rebounding team in the league right now. I don't think they're that bad. And the Suns don't rebound the basketball either. Malik says I've been saying it all season. Suns don't play defense. Memphis for me. Couldn't talk you off. Mark says he'll play the 8, put it in his pocket. No more Phoenix. No more Phoenix, Mark. I like it. Taylor likes Ja over his points. I love to see it. I'm not even going to read the rest of it. If Taylor likes it, I love it. And I bet it already. I like it a lot. Anthony says go straight to 25 at plus 152. Couldn't talk you off of that, man. It just scares me, like I said, that they don't have anybody off the injury. They don't have anybody on the injury report for Memphis here. All right, let's go through one more game. I don't really care about a couple of these games. So the Bucks and the Rockets, I kind of want to talk this one out a little bit. So we got Fred VanVleet, who did go through practice yesterday. He is listed, I think, as questionable in this game for the Milwaukee Bucks, on the Milwaukee Bucks side of things. Tari Eason is also game time decision. Jason Tate is also game time decision. Dylan Brooks is also listed as questionable. This is exactly why I didn't play the game. And then on the Milwaukee Bucks side of things, of course, no Bobby Portis. Gary Trent Jr. is game time decision, but it looks like Dame and Giannis are going to be there to go along with Taurean Prince and Kyle Kuzma and Brook Lopez. So Milwaukee is not a good road team, right? And let's start with this. If you remember back, I vividly remember this game between these two teams in Milwaukee on the road, and you got a very, very similar line, right? Milwaukee was laying the same number. I think it was like 3.5 at home as a favorite, and they won the game by 1 earlier this season, 100-101 as a 3.5-point home favorite. That game went under the 224 total. When I think this was like November-ish, I want to say. Milwaukee's not a great road team. They're 10-17 against the spread on the road. 4 straight wins for them. They've covered 2 of their last 3. And of course, it correlates with Giannis being back on the floor. Houston hasn't really looked great either, though. 1-4 ATS last 5, 3-7 straight up, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10. And just because Fred VanVleet comes back doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be in rhythm. He's missed quite a while. It feels like it's been a month since Fred VanVleet has played basketball, especially when you take into consideration the All-Star break as well. Yeah, he's been sidelined since the first, which is about a month all together. So they are coming off a pretty bad road loss against Utah. They lost that game by 9 points as a 7.5-point favorite. So this one shakes out to be a spot where I kind of think you got to see what happens with Houston, in my opinion. They got a plethora of important guys on the injury report. I didn't even mention Steven Adams, also listed as game time decision. I think he's more probable and rested that last one because it was the second leg of a back-to-back. But I kind of feel like Milwaukee can keep this game close. The bigger the number gets for Houston, the more I kind of feel like Milwaukee could keep this game close. I'm not really buying into Houston first game back with VanVleet unless everybody goes. I need everybody out there if I want Houston in this spot. I think he could kind of disrupt the rhythm. You're also still working Jabari Smith Jr. back in. Only his 3rd game back. He's looked pretty poor, as expected, with a fractured hand. Hasn't really shot the ball well from the 3-point line. So I know that the Bucks aren't necessarily as great on the road. I always worry about them defensively on the road. The defense takes a very big backwards dip on the road than when they're at home. I kind of want to take the points with Milwaukee here, though. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat, and then we'll do a quick recap. I'm not going through the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks game. I don't really have that much interest. Charlotte, I'm not, taking the points with Charlotte. I agree with the way that their line's going. Golden State is a one-way ticket for me right now. I'm betting on them or I'm staying off the game. Need Golden State to just win the game, and I'm happy and fine with that. Not laying the 16.5. So not going to really bore y'all with my thoughts on those games. The Laker game, just real quickly on the Laker game before I go through the comments on this game. The line is now up to 9. And if you have eyes, Jam, this line has been available pretty much since Luka got traded. And it opened at 5, 5.5, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this morning I wake up as 9. I already felt like I missed the best of the number. I'm definitely not playing it at 9. The Lakers are absolutely balling right now. There was a lot of motivation to win that game against Denver, the way Denver has owned us for forever. Luka, very emotional game for him. Dallas should struggle. I think Dallas is going to be a fade away from Dallas. But I don't feel comfortable laying 9 points. So I'm not really going to talk about that game too much. I'll go through these comments and then we'll get into a quick recap and get up off here, man. Let's see what we are thinking here. Yeah, I agree with this double down. I do agree with that. Let's see. Taylor says Dame under his assists. Houston is the best team in the NBA against assists. Yeah. He says Rockets allowed the least assists in the NBA with Giannis. His team's ranked 10th or better in assists allowed. Dame is under in 9 of his 14 games, under in 6 of those 7 games on the road. I like this a lot, Taylor. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe I just take this and play this. I do like Dame under his assist prop. It makes a ton of sense here. Kevin says Bucks by 11. Lillard and Giannis on restricted minutes. So you mean they lose by 11, Kevin? By 11 typically mean you win by 11. Prestigious Prodigy asking about Luka over his points. The world will be on it today. Most of the time I try to shy away from those type plays. Luka might get a triple-double and not get the points. I don't want to talk you off of it, Prestigious Prodigy. I'll just say I'm not betting the under on Luka today. Luka would probably be one of those games where he will go crazy. Absolutely. Mark likes under in Charlotte and Golden State game, under 22-23. I talked about this on Sunday. The Golden State Warriors, since acquiring Jimmy Butler, our opponents are 5-5, a perfect 6-0 to their team total under. So a Charlotte team total under, the number is 102.5 though. Like that's the scary part. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not even going to talk about that game. I don't really like taking totals that low. Where the book's kind of forcing you to take over, in my opinion. Mark says he'll look Houston first half. Not sure what the total was, Lingowick. I don't even think I remember looking at it. He said they'll win by 11, the Bucks, even on restricted minutes. That's crazy, Kevin, but okay. Dropping Down says he likes LeBron under his points. He says, I think he tries to get everyone else involved. I can see that. Bron over his assists. Bron, I feel like his rebounds have been going up. I got to see the profile of Dallas, though, also. Lakers look good, man. I'm not betting against the Lakers. Golden State looks good. Not betting against either one of those teams. I just don't like those spreads. They're a little bit too big. Yeah, so no real thoughts on this Bucks and Rockets game. Antonio says he'll take Magic and Bucks on the money line. Okay. Appreciate you for tapping in, Prestigious Prodigy. Let's get into a quick recap real quick. I don't love the slate, but I did make 2 plays. Ja Morant up and over 21.5. I think it's still available. I like the 22.5 as well. And then I bet on Cleveland and Orlando under 225.5. The short list for today, which I didn't even make one. I don't have any red plays because the only plays on here are plays that I actually made. But I want to play. I want to play Boston. I want to play Toronto specifically. I want to play their team total under 107.5. But I want to see what happens with Jakob Poeltl first, and I want to make sure Joe Mazzulla is not manipulating us with the injury report because they do play tomorrow. But I do think Toronto struggles to score against Boston's defense right now. And let's see real quick. Let me just look through it again. I kind of want to take. I want to take Orlando plus the points too. I really, really do. We'll see what happens with Darius Garland. You always hate to see, that type of stuff. And I guess I lean towards Phoenix as well. Not Phoenix ever. Memphis minus the 8 is what I would do. But I kind of saw this at 7, and it's hard for me to bet a spread when I've lost a point of value. I just hate being on the, getting those bad lines. Yeah, not touching San Antonio, New Orleans. I could care less about that game. And I don't really have anything for Dallas, Lakers, or Cleveland, Charlotte. So big slate, not too big of a slate, but not a lot for me, man. I'll go ahead and start looking ahead towards tomorrow. I think we got 9 games on the board for tomorrow. So, and a couple of these teams playing, back-to-backs as well. So we'll see. Best of luck on all your action, dude. As always, I hope you guys catch whatever it is that you end up playing. All the resources that I use are here. Check them out. Referral codes will save you some money on everything if you're interested in checking out the handicap and resources that I use. Enjoy your Tuesday, man, and I'll catch you guys a little bit later. I will be on Cal's show with him at 4 o'clock, and unless we get some injury news, I'm probably not looking towards too many other plays for today, but try to find, maybe a play or two. I do like what Taylor said about Dame to go under his 7.5 assists. That makes a ton of sense in my mind. Just hadn't really thought about it. Maybe add Porzingis up and over his points prop, his first quarter points as well. But that's what I got for you guys today. Like I said, enjoy your Tuesday, man. I will catch you in the next one.